Audio check. 1, 2, 1, 2. No, you hear the TV. It doesn't sound tinny, but like without like lapel mics and lavaliers and all that stuff. That's what you're gonna get. Okay, go baby. Alright, let's take a look here. Oh, it just brings up the live stream. Alright, just getting started. Got a couple people hopping on. Can everybody hear me okay? Testing, 1, 2. Hello, hello.
Are we on?
We are on. Your mom says good morning. Morning. I want to see what this does. Cool. All right, so let's see. Today,
So on the left is where we see
comments and stuff will end up here. It shows likes and all that stuff up there. Shows number of viewers up there. So, okay. So good morning. We're gonna get started. So Joy and I are going to talk about coffee. So
we're gonna make coffee.
We're gonna make coffee, talk about coffee, drink coffee because we haven't had any today. If you caught our last live stream, we said, hey, Saturday at 10 o'clock, we'll do a little coffee thing. Maybe we should have made it 9 because I'm tired.
Yeah, but most people probably aren't up on a Saturday at 9. They don't have to be.
That's true. I was up early for some reason. Well, relatively speaking. Of course, Chico has to go out now. So, why don't you explain what you're doing? I'm going to let the dog go.
Which one do you want to start with?
You do comments.
Okay.
What?
Oh, we got these two.
Hey.
Okay, we're going to do the Chemex right now, and this one is my favorite. Probably my favorite. Give her back, she's fine. This is pretty much how we drink our coffee 90% of the time, just because it's how we both like it, and it makes enough for both of us. So I'm heating up the water right now. Brandon and I have kind of conflicting views on how many scoops you should have. I know if he could do it all the time, he would weigh it, but if I'm making it, normally I just do, he likes to do, what, 5?
Yeah.
It depends on the coffee, but I will normally do 4 and then like a half. I guess I could do 5. I don't know. It seems like a lot of coffee. And it tastes fine. We haven't complained about it. So, see, our thing's coming off down here.
Yeah.
So anyways, got a little filter in there. And we're waiting for that water to heat up. And I don't know what you're doing.
There we go.
Oh, okay.
Try this again.
Action cam mode.
No, it's just not like that.
I should have heated this up before so we could have had it ready. What's going on?
Oh. You just keep doing your thing.
Well, there's nothing to do yet until the water's done.
I'm going to try to give you guys up close shots. Trying something new. I'm trying a lot of new things today. Okay, so this should work. There we go. Cool. So we do up close shots and stuff.
There's our 4.5 scoops of coffee. I'm using the Starbucks Veranda, and that's our favorite. This is almost done. How we heat up our water every day. We used to use a kettle on the stove, but this is better.
Yeah, we ended up switching to the electric kettle. One, because I actually got that as a gift.
Company gift.
Yeah, it was one of those like work reward things. And then we switched to the electric kettle. We used to have, actually, I think we still have it. We used to have one you throw on the stove and stuff, which was great. But then you'd have to like get the kettle, fill it, put it on the stove, turn on the stove, and go through all these steps. And with an electric kettle, like you fill it, set it, forget it. Which honestly, I would probably recommend like an electric plug-in kettle to just about anybody that's going to do this. Oh, Scott says good job with my haircut, Joy.
Aw, thanks.
So.
It looks good for the front anyways. I don't know what the back is supposed to look like, so don't look at it.
Don't look at that. We don't know what the back looks like.
I don't know if that's right or not.
So we'll see. Yeah, we should have preheated some of this water. So what we'll do is we'll, after we pour this, we'll heat some more on the side. But anyway, so for those of you joining, we got 20 people watching. So good morning, happy Saturday, happy Easter weekend. We're just here having coffee with you guys, making some coffee, and going about our way. So I know Joy already explained this, but for those of you joining, we are currently making some coffee via the Chemex. So this is an 8-cup Chemex. We use...
It's a pour over.
It is a pour over method. Good point. We use, actually, let me see the scoop. So the scoop, I think, is a tablespoon and a half. This actually came with the AeroPress, which we'll be showing later.
This.
I don't know why we decided to just keep using this.
Because it's perfect.
Now, if you want to be super snobbish,
I don't have time for this, so.
Joy doesn't have time for this, but like our good friends at the Red Rooster, they do it this way because they like to do things the right way. So props to them. Can't wait to go visit them again. Anyway, you use a gram scale of any sort. A lot of people that want to be super precise in their coffee will actually put this and then measure their coffee out that way. It's been a while since I've done it. I think for this, I normally use 75 to 90 grams of coffee. The benefit of using mass instead of volume is that depending on the coarseness of your grind, just how your grinder's acting that day, if you get pre-ground, you don't know how they ground it. Going by mass, you literally get the exact same amount of coffee for every pour. And then you would measure water the same way as well.
But then your water, it makes a difference too on how hot that is.
Yep, so if I recall, I really busted out some food science here, so anyone feel free to correct me on this. Coffee ideally should be brewed in a hot method, if it is a hot method, between 190 and 205 degrees Fahrenheit should be the temperature you use through here. So that of course would change certain aspects of the water, but anyway, so what we do is we normally, with the electric kettle, we get it to just a boil, it flips off.
I didn't even
Technically,
let it boil.
you should
because I
let
filled
it cool.
I filled it too much, so I caught it before the boil, because otherwise it just spills everywhere. So if you want to get the camera over here, you can see how far I'm going to fill this.
Give it a second, because we've been having up close shot issues. Nope. It keeps disconnecting. We're getting there. We need one of those little technical difficulty slides.
Yeah, and then people would really want to stick around to watch. Anyways, not a big
We'll switch
deal
to
if
normal
you can't see it. It's fine. What I do, I don't really measure any of this water. I just pour it on the top pretty much until it covers the coffee completely. And then I always kind of lift that up a little bit so it
There we go.
can start doing its thing. So this is like the next easiest way to brew coffee, at least I think, next to a regular coffee pot. Because as much as I would love to just push a button in the morning and be done, we don't do that around here. So this is not too bad to just have to pour, but we pour about three times, sometimes one more if for some reason our coffee.
You do 3. I actually do 4 pour.
Well, like if the water is here, usually I don't pour anymore. He'll sometimes pour an extra. I don't know how much of a difference that really makes by pouring one extra time, taste wise. So
I just think it saturates the coffee more, and I think you get a bolder coffee then because it's had more time to go through and extract the coffee a little bit more. You definitely don't want to over extract the coffee though, because that's when you start getting bitter coffee. I'm gonna look here at the what we got in comments so far. So let's see. We got 24 people watching. Hey guys, hey everybody. Got some hellos. Amber's watching. Hi Amber. My dad. Let's see. Kim Conrad, another Skyliner. Love your mug collection. How did you hang them under the cabinet? Apparently I can add this to the broadcast. That's kind of cool. So how did you hang them under the cabinet? While we're waiting for that to brew, Joy, go ahead and do another poll. And then let's go take a look. So, for those of you that don't know, Joy and I don't collect anything except for one thing.
well, you don't collect them.
Well, as a family unit. The one thing we do collect, so if any of our friends live out of state or go out of state, let us know. We love having Starbucks mugs from all over the place. Anyway, so we hang some here, we have some up here, and then actually Joy just cleaned a ton. We actually had more than this. She got rid of duplicates.
I didn't get rid of. I boxed them up and put them away because we don't get rid of them. But I didn't have any more space for them. So, yeah, that's what we got going on there.
So we just, I made a little just wood strip and put some of those eye hooks in it, and then drilled it underneath the cabinet, and that's how we hang them. I also have an LED strip here that is dying, but it's been on 24/7 for like 5 years, so I think we're actually well past the rating. What are you on, 2?
Yep, so we're almost ready for the third one. And after that, our kettle only holds so much, so I have to fill it again, but I'll go for the third.
So she's gonna pour. So my dad says that they love their stovetop percolator. So we actually used to have a percolator. Oh gosh, what, 7, 8 years ago?
That's what those things are up there.
And no, they're not.
Well, they're like them.
No, I mean they percolate, but they're not percolator. Those are French espresso style. Anyway, so we had a percolator, and that's how we drank coffee for the longest time. So that there's like a basket. Switch over. There's a basket inside of it, essentially, that holds the coffee. So similar to like how you have the paper filter up here, there's a metal container with a filter. You put your coffee in that. But it's basically if you took this and combined it with the actual kettle, and then it would cook. The water would heat up. It would bubble, which would shove the water up into the coffee, and that's how it
It
percolates.
took us a lot of time to perfect that method because you kind of have to keep an eye on it. We're not always the best at that, but we had a time.
Always watch the stuff on the stove.
I'm not good at that. I think we might have that, Scott. I want to say that. I think we might have that one, or we might have had that one.
So Scott says, don't know if you're interested, but Cafe Grit is a coffee we bought in Costa Rica, and it's better than the 1820 we brought home last year. Anyway, you can order it online right now. It's 20% off and free shipping. You can order 3 or more bags. A little pricey, but the 20% helps. Very good and lots of options.
Okay, Jess said, she said, She did give it to us. I can't
Yes,
remember.
so Jess brought us some. So I don't know if we've tapped into that yet, but we definitely had the
One of the bags
1820.
we did, I think.
The 1820 is really good. I think the first time we had 1820, actually, I think my friend who I mentioned in the last live stream, Clark had sent us a bag because he had went to Costa Rica and he threw a bag our way. Candace says she likes to cook coffee over the campfire in a percolator. That's actually a great use for a percolator. If you go camping, percolator is a great one to have. Or if you do bring a kettle with you, personally, I recommend AeroPress. But if you want an all-in-one unit, percolator is a great way to go. All right.
So we're ready.
Do
Do
you
you want to
have
do one
do you
more
have any
pour on
extras now?
this?
No, that's fine.
Are you sure? Because that looks like something you add pour maybe half a pour in there, just to bring it up a little bit.
Scott says he has 10 bags of that coffee on the way.
That sounds like something we would do because we go through coffee really quickly. So I have like a supply downstairs because I get it when it's on sale or
It's
you know,
really funny.
I find like new ones I want to try. So you know, people get crazy about the toilet paper being low. Like if our coffee's low, then maybe I would probably start to get a little crazy. Okay, so I'll call this one good, and I'll do it one more time, a little bit. So the only problem with these filters is one of these, once we get it finished, probably gives, I would say, 3, maybe 4 cups of coffee.
Yeah, well, of those cups, yeah. So
if we wanted to make more, you can't reuse these. I mean, I've tried before.
don't reuse them.
It's
Also,
hard.
so speaking of filters and stuff, highly recommend paper filters. They do make metal filters that are reusable, washable, reusable, etc.
Don't do it.
Couple issues with metal filters. One, depending on the metal, it can affect the taste of the coffee. So I don't really want that, right?
But if you're not a coffee snob, you wouldn't know what that tastes like.
Anyway.
I mean, I don't know what metal tastes like.
It would taste metallic.
Some people might not notice that.
Anyway, so the other thing is that, I mean, coffee is like a huge science. So first of all, I have no degree in this. Take everything I say with a grain of salt or a ground of coffee. Anyway, so when it comes to coffee, one of the benefits of a paper filter, so you'll notice that it's stained, right? It's changed color because it's absorbed some of the coffee. One of the things that it does absorb is there's oils and tannins and all that other stuff in the coffee. There is I believe it's an oil in coffee that gives it kind of a bitter taste, a more bitter taste. And technically, if I recall, it's actually toxic, but unless you're drinking gallons and gallons of coffee a day, that's not really the issue. But the issue is that it does affect the taste.
All right, I'm ready to toss it. So what I do is I just take the whole thing with me to the trash and then I throw this away because I don't want it dripping everywhere.
So while she's tossing that, the metal filter doesn't absorb anything, so you get everything that's in the coffee, including stuff that you don't want.
Then we top it off here. I normally go to about here. And then I got this little plug thing. And it just kind of, I don't know how well it keeps it warm, but it keeps it covered because we've had like fruit flies and stuff flying there because we're the kind of people who will have our coffee like this out all day and pour it and warm it up. So a lot of things could be flying in there if we're not careful. So there's that. So it's ready to pour and ready to drink. I still add a little bit extra water to it just because I don't like mine as strong as Brandon does.
So Amber says, and I didn't know this, Amber says that there are cotton reusable ones.
Oh, is that what you get, Amber? Can you like send us a link to those?
Yeah, share a link on this video. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
And we'll probably order some and try them out. I did not know that, but that is a good idea because I'm sure the cotton probably absorbs some of those things that metal wouldn't, and I bet you'd probably get a better taste.
All right, so we have this one. What else? What do we want to try next? Do we want?
Well, can we have a cup of coffee?
Yeah.
How about this? You pour coffee, I'll warm up more water. Because we'll do French next.
Are you sure you don't want to save any for that? Because I don't like French press coffee at all. At all. I just don't like it. No amount of anything can make it taste good to me. So, anyway, so Brandon gets a full cup. I don't know what it is, but as I've gotten older, you think I would like want my coffee stronger, but I don't. So I always, I'm just gonna stop this for a minute. I always like top mine off just with a little bit of water. Oh yeah, so if we're gonna do this, we need to show them our frother because that's equally as important here.
So we always have a supply of cream and or half and half in the house. Not just for coffee, because we cook with it too. Mostly the cream we cook with. But
Alright.
I cook with.
So get back on that one. On that one so we can see this. So we've had lots of people show interest in our little frother tool here, and you can probably get those anywhere. I know you can get them at stores around here or Amazon or whatever. I don't remember where we got ours. Did we get it online?
Yeah, Amazon. It's an Aero latte. But honestly, as long as it spins, it's good. And it's not spinning.
So anyways, we've been through a couple because any drop or anything can bend it a little bit and then it'll start doing this and it'll be really weird. So
you probably could.
I love this thing. Some people, I know you don't always care about it, but I love being able to.
You know, if you want to go hardcore, and we're gonna show this later when we do the Dalgona or whatever it's called. Coffee.
Yeah, we don't have time for that. So.
Anyway, you could use a hand whisk attachment on like an immersion blender or stick blender. That's probably a little hardcore.
This little guy is really good for. This is whipping cream, so like we don't buy flavored creamers and stuff a whole lot. And sometimes I will if I just, want something different, but nothing beats whipping cream or half and half. No flavor, no extra whatever. I like to taste my coffee in the form it's in and just have this as its accent piece. But we do have the flavored syrups and stuff, but I don't really use those as much. So anyway, see, this is starting to struggle now because it's actually turning into cream. See how thick that is? So I'm going to call that good. And then also what we can do
I don't know what you do.
I was going to show them the half and half.
To do what?
How it frosts different.
Oh.
Frost compared to
Alright, she's gonna do half and half as well. Chess says, whip it, whip it, whip it.
So explain to them about half and half needing to be warmed up and the whipping cream being cold.
Yeah, it's a good point. I don't know the science on this one, so this is anecdotal for all intents and purposes. So whipping cream, when you whip it, generally needs to be cold, and I'm going to guess it's because it's higher fat, which when it spins, it's going to cut more air into it, right, because it's more solid. So this needs to be cold. So like if you're going to make homemade whipped cream, which, man, if there weren't the dairy restrictions right now.
Yeah, I was only able to buy one each of these things.
Yeah, so if there weren't dairy restrictions right now, we'd probably be making whipped cream as well. But they only let us buy one thing of cream. Anyway, like if you're gonna make homemade whipped cream, then you want to use like a cold bowl. You want to use cold cream. Throw in a little bit of sugar that helps cut through and of course sweeten. But with half and half, it's not as much fat, so you actually want to have it be warmer so that it can froth and bubble better.
So this will be light and foamy, where the other stuff is a thick. cream.
Also takes longer, in my opinion.
Well, I poured a lot in here too, so normally, I don't need as much because I don't use that much cream in my coffee. So this one might take longer just because I did pour a lot in there. If you do a little bit, it's
Thank you, Amber. Amber posted a link. Kim says, do you have a whipped cream canister like they have at Starbucks? They are the bomb. No, we don't. Fun fact.
it's on his
It
wish
is
list.
on my Amazon wish list, and it's been there for probably 8 years. So
No one wants to spend almost $100 on one for
they
now.
weren't. No. It wasn't $100.
Okay,
It's
it was
like
like
60.
$70.
It's like $60. And they use little CO2 cartridges, and yeah. No, I don't have one. But we accept gifts. No, we'll get one eventually.
Okay, so it's not really whipping as well here. So pretend that whipped because I think I put too much in and maybe didn't heat it long enough. Anyways, it's
Good
still gonna be good. Sometimes with this, like I'll even put some flavor in here. This stuff really got thick though. I don't like a lot of sugar flavors in my coffee. I don't like a lot of sweet coffee, so I'm really funny. Like if I go to the Red Rooster, they know what I like, and I have a whole thing I rattle off, but I don't need to anymore because I know. But they know I don't like a pump. I came up with a word. I don't remember what I said with the syrup. Like I said, just like I didn't even say splash. It was like less than a splash of flavoring. If
Just
I wanted
spit
to.
in it.
Like I just want a little. Like I just give me a little. That's all I want. I just don't like a lot of the sweet flavors. I'd rather have like cream and stuff in mine. Or some people, I don't know, because I know if you go to other coffee places, like I think someone told me Starbucks, when you get flavor, I don't know, maybe some of you guys have worked at Starbucks, but I think they give you like, what do they give you, like 4 pumps?
Yeah,
I'm not going to do
excessive.
it, but they give you like 4 pumps if you ask for flavoring, and that's ridiculous. I think that's yucky. So
Yeah, those of you that go to Starbucks a ton, like you know how many pumps you want, you know exactly how to order it, and it's so crazy because they can just take the order like that. When you have coffee here, you kind of get what you get. So
Wanna say hi, Poppy?
anyway,
Wanna say hi?
Poppy's over here.
Say hi. Can you say hi? Look right
Say
there.
hi. Right there. Say hi. She's like, what am I looking at? What is that?
You wanna make coffee?
So-
Wanna try? She'd like some cream. You smell it?
All right, so Chemex,
Okay.
right? The thing I like about Chemex is Joy already kind of touched on some of it. One, honestly, super easy. You heat up water, you pour it over. That's it. Like it's so easy. 2, I think it is just such a like neutral, standard, good cup of coffee. Did it bump a lot?
No, but you might want to close the door because she's gonna escape outside, and who knows what she'll do.
Skinny jeans.
See, that's perfect. I'm telling you, it makes all the difference in the world to have whipping cream in your coffee. It really does make all the difference. So good. Did you want anything in yours?
No, it's fine.
Yeah, I still am not like adult enough to drink my coffee black. I could, I guess, but why would you want to?
Okay, sorry. Anyways, so I was saying. So Chemex, right? Like I said, this to me is like what I would just call a standard, solid cup of coffee. Like there's nothing crazy about it, but like it's not bad. It's not like amazing, but it's just like if you want a cup of coffee, That is like perfect.
This one next.
Yeah.
So this is just a couple pieces.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna take it apart, but
Alright, so this is French press. So I'm going to tell you right off the bat we're going to do something wrong here. And that's because I don't feel like grinding more coffee at the moment. So French press is, what is it? Technically the immersion method. Other examples of immersion method would be like cold brew coffee, which we won't do because that takes like 11 or 12 hours. So we're not going to stream that long. Anyway,
could have done some ahead of time.
we could have done TV kitchen magic where we put it in, put it under, and then
12
pull out.
hours
Oh,
later.
12 hours passed in our time machine under the counter. Anyway, so French press immersion method. Because you were actually putting the coffee in the water, generally you would use a coarse grind. And we don't have any coarse ground coffee at the moment. We could, but I'm lazy. And honestly, I normally just use drip grind anyway, because
Like, I don't do this.
if you want, perfect. If you want French press, like a lot of times you kind of expect a little grit anyway. Plus, when you pour it off, it kind of settles at the bottom anyway, so you don't get a lot of it. What do we got here? Oh, yes, yes, yes. Up North Roast Coffee. This is the Luddington Espresso. This was actually a gift for Christmas. We finally tapped into it. This is from Tyler. Thank you, Tyler. So Luddington Espresso is what we're going to use.
So I haven't ground that just now, so I don't know how much we're gonna need, but
Okay, let's try switching.
I don't know anything about how to make this or anything, so
All right, you guys can still see us in the corner. So anyway, I'm going to keep this guy off. This is just a convenient insulated holder so you don't burn yourself. Anyway, with French press, I'll normally do, again, honestly across almost all the methods I do, I normally do 4 scoops. So I'm going to do 4 scoops, just rough scoops, honestly. Filled that kind of spilling it everywhere. Okay, so I do 4 scoops. Try to stay clean. And then we're going to top it with water.
is there any measuring going on here? You just
We're just going to fill it up right about there. Okay, this guy we're going to throw on top. This has a filter side to it, so make sure you use that. And this is a multi-layer filter. So there's a screen, there's that guy, which really doesn't give a lot. And then this goes on it. So we're going to set a timer. Set a timer for 4 minutes. She's not going to listen. She never listens. Oh, she listened. She never listens. Okay, so we're going to wait 4 minutes. When the 4 minutes is up, we're going to press that, and then we will have coffee.
so when they give it to you, like at a coffee shop, do they give it to you already pressed, or do you press it yourself?
So that's a good question. Switch back to wide.
And what happens if you don't press it within 4 minutes and you wait too long? Does it get stronger?
Yeah, so, okay, so a couple of things, right, with French. So if you go to, like, a real, like, coffee shop, cafe type thing, if you order a French press, they'll normally bring this to your table. Some of them will actually leave a timer with you or say, hey, press this in about 4 minutes and leave it up to you. So like if you go down to the Red Rooster here in Luddington, if you order a French press, you get that at your table, and they'll tell you to press it. I think they'll actually remind you too if you forget. Anyway, so yeah, after 4 minutes or so, you're going to press it down, and if you let it sit too long, you can over-extract coffee, and that's where those oils I was talking about earlier that kind of add bitterness, those are all in here right now, right? So if we over-extract it, that's how you end up with some bitter coffee. Actually, fun fact, since we have a couple minutes left, people that use drip coffee makers, there's nothing wrong with drip. Drip is essentially a form of pour over. The issue is that a lot of times people will try to make coffee less strong and they'll put less scoops in it. So what ends up happening is you over extract it and then you end up with bitter coffee. If you don't want your coffee as bitter, you actually should add more coffee or use less water. Because then it doesn't over extract as much. So then you just get kind of more of that like cleaner, as we would probably call it, cup of coffee, because you're not just sucking everything out of the grounds, including the stuff that doesn't taste as good. All right. And we still have a good amount of people with us. Awesome. Good conversation going on. Let's see. Just looking through the comments here. Nice. I am going to enjoy this for a minute. Do we have any questions or anything about what we've done so far? I'd say it's not science, but technically it's food science. Are you guys drinking coffee? Because you should be. We're having coffee together in addition to us showing you stuff. All right. While that's going, I'm gonna heat up some more water. We're gonna do AeroPress next. Joy left me. I think she's taking care of the baby. Jen, yeah, food science! Boom. Hey, when I throw, do you guys see the comments when I put them on the screen? I mean, I'm getting used to the software still, so if you can see the comments, let me know, please. Because it's kind of cool that I can throw them on there. I wish you just kept the timer on. Yep, there we go. Timer done. So we're just going to press. And you will notice some resistance when you do this. Because you're taking all those suspended particles and pushing them down. And again, this is where a coarse grind would be better because there's not going to be as much like dilution. It's not going to be as thick, right? Because it's not all floating around. But we're cheating. Okay? Grab a cup. I'm going to regret not using this. All right. Normally I would keep it in here. I just wanted you guys to have the visual. Okay. So I've pressed it down. There's definitely still going to be some particles suspended because I didn't use the proper grind. But if you let it sit just like one more minute, a lot of that will settle as well. So we're going to pour it out. You see AeroPress over here?
Yeah.
So you notice I get almost 2 cups out of this. Again, the different sizes will make a difference. I bought a bigger one. We'll sample this in a minute. It's still really hot. So the question was, does it get stronger as it sits? Sometimes what I'll do is, if I'm not just going to slam through 2 cups of coffee, which I normally don't, mostly because it's hot and I don't like burning my mouth, I will actually pour this into another cup, so it's not just sitting there. Otherwise, you're going to get some crazy over-extraction down here. So pour all of it out, I would say. So grab 2 cups, whatever. You don't want it sitting there forever. It's going to get really bitter. If you like that, that's your preference. I'm telling you the standard way. So we're going to set this aside right here. We're heating up water. We're going to do AeroPress next. Cool, you guys can see the comments when I throw them up there. Awesome. Oh, Eric's with us. Eric, I thought you were working. Cool. All right, let's see how this is. It's still kind of steaming.
No, don't drink it out of there because what if people want it?
There's another cup. Well, technically, we can't serve them that. Sorry. We originally were going to say grab it off our porch, but with the new executive order, we can't do that.
I mean, if you want to send us a little separate message or something, we might have some out there for you anyway.
Woo, it's hot. I don't like burning my mouth. She does. I don't.
Not on coffee. It's not lunchtime. You want to say hi? Right here?
You guys want to try?
Hi.
Here's Perry. No, over there. I know you see it here, but that's where they're at. So say, look at the camera and say hello.
Hello.
Okay. All right, go. Okay, so something to note, and I know you guys aren't sitting here tasting it or whatever, but hey, maybe once this is lifted, we get a little tasting burn. Anyway, so we're using the same coffee for all of these. So one nice thing, if you're going to do multiple methods, you kind of want to compare. That's kind of a baseline, right? What? Oh, no, we're not. This one's different, isn't it?
What?
That's a different coffee than that, isn't it?
Yes.
I
This is
lied.
Veranda. This is the new.
Yeah, so this is going to be a
Espresso
deeper
stuff.
roast.
Yeah, so.
Well, if you wanted to compare properly, you would use the same roast of coffee and then change the method.
Yeah, the grind is going to be different too. So this isn't going to be as probably.
Not grab this.
No. I can find something again.
I'm waiting for my lunch, so I'm hungry. I'm waiting for my lunch.
Let's all say aw together.
Huh?
Perry, people say hello to you. People are saying hi to you.
How? I.
Not coffee related, but
There's some more.
mirrors, right? Anyway,
I knew she was going to comment and say something about burning our mouths.
fun
That is
story. Fun
story.
thing. So, not coffee related, but per Nikki's comment. So when we make pizza, homemade, frozen, or otherwise, when it comes out of the oven, I don't do it anymore.
I've grown up since then.
I used to set a timer for 5 minutes so that she wouldn't burn her mouth. Because she would it would literally come out of the oven, I'd cut it, she'd grab a piece and eat it, and go, "Ah, it's hot!" Yeah, it's hot. It came out of a 300, 400 degree oven. Anyway, we don't have to set a timer anymore. She's grown up so much.
I still burned my mouth yesterday on it, so. All right, we ready?
Oh, yeah. Oh, wait, yeah. There we go. Okay, so AeroPress. So paper filter again, right? Curious if they make cloth ones now for the press.
I know they make the metal discs, and
I know
I've
metal
heard
discs.
that definitely doesn't taste good in this. Okay, so we have our little thing. Stick it in there.
Yes.
We've you can reuse these forever and ever and ever. We thought you could you replace them like all the time until we realized they give you a stack like this
What are you
tall. Them.
We don't get it.
Because I'm watching myself.
Oh.
Let me go get the thing. Who am I talking to?
Well, you were like looking over to the distance.
I'm watching my hands
Well,
on
they
the
can still.
screen.
Oh, I got that.
It doesn't matter what they see.
We're learning how to do
No,
broadcast.
we're not. So anyways, it comes with all these. So we were like using one and then throwing it away after each time.
Which is okay.
Which is
for the
okay
record.
because they give you about a gazillion of these. But
Well, hold on. So we also have a ton because I would take my AeroPress when I travel so that I have good coffee.
and forget it in the hotel room.
And I forgot it at a resort. So, yeah. And I remembered after I was like 3 hours away and I called and it was already gone.
So anyway, so you can reuse these over and over, but we like to wet it first before we attach it to this.
Helps with the seal.
It does, but sometimes it's still. So it's in there. Plop it on a cup. So for this one, I don't know if you can use the espresso or not. I still wouldn't.
You could. It'll be really strong.
How many scoops do we like in this for 1 cup?
We or you?
Between both of us.
I do 4.
Okay.
But you will want 2.
Oh, I think I did. I think I did 3 maybe. Let's do 3. Okay, so that seems like a lot for 1 cup of coffee. I think people say, "Oh my gosh, that's too strong because that's so much coffee." When really, it's not that way at all. If you use less coffee, it's going to be gross. Okay, so here's the water.
Amber, yes, you can reuse them.
So see the edge here, numbers.
Oh yeah, so the AeroPress, they help you out here. Granted, this is just a guide. There's actually an AeroPress competition for people that make AeroPress coffee, and then they have a whole like judging panel that rate how good the coffee is. Anyway, so these are just kind of starter guides. I fill it all the way up every time.
Amber says you can reuse those.
That's what I said.
And Jess says I use 1.5. When we reuse them, we just rinse them off and let them air dry. So I just kind of fill it to the top here. And then we take this crazy little thing right here.
Paddle.
And then you can kind of move that coffee around in there. And I think, what did I tell you? 20 seconds? 30 seconds?
You should do 10 seconds of stirring, and then you do 30 seconds of pressing.
Press
Now,
oh.
So again, this is if you're reading it straight out of the manual. I have my own personal technique, which is I actually stir it for like 30 seconds. I actually let it go all the way through, and then I refill it one more time.
Oh, see, I don't.
And then I press it again. So then it's almost like a pour over kind of espresso hybrid. So now you can put the phone in.
So depending, sometimes this can be really hard to push. Other times, it's not. I'm not sure what affects that, but you gotta hold this right here, or it slips and it'll just.
You want me to press it?
So Brandon's gonna press it. It's probably not gonna be very hard, but.
So a couple notes as well. So when you press this firm on the base, if you're getting a lot of water hitting you in the hand, it's probably because you didn't line the paper up right. Sometimes it still happens, but anyway. So you're just gonna do a steady, not hard, but just firm press.
The vacuum in there is.
And you probably can't tell in the wide shot, but right now there is pretty much a chunk of air right here.
And it's making a hissing sound.
It's a tequila. Go.
Oh, tequila.
Stealing the baby's food.
Oh.
Anyway, there was a whole thing of air that you're pushing through the coffee, and it's. I don't want to say it's the poor man's espresso, but it is kind of the poor man's espresso. There's not nearly as much pressure as like an espresso machine would have, but you are basically following a similar principle of the pressurized extraction. Anyway, so once you've hit all the way where the plunger hits the coffee, and it's pretty hard to push, it's probably all the way done. So you're gonna lift. You normally get these beautiful, just like crema type bubbles.
We'll let them see what it looks like when we plop it out.
Oh, you want me to empty it here?
Yeah. So normally we just take it to the trash and kind of plunge it out that way, but you got to see the coffee puck. It's always kind of cool. Take the filter out. Don't break the filter.
I'll just draw out the whole thing. Anyway, you would just rinse this.
And then just let it
air
dry.
dry.
It's fine.
Honestly, I probably wouldn't use this more than a week's worth.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. A few times.
If you care about going through all that work. Otherwise, just toss it when you dump this. Anyway, you would normally just do this straight in the trash, but...
Look at that.
So the other cool thing about the AeroPress is that, besides that right there, technically it's self-cleaning because this was sealed. So you've actually kind of cleaned it all the way through. So really, you just have to rinse it out. I would still recommend cleaning this at least once a week, maybe every other week.
Sometimes we just put it in like a vinegar bath and soak it after a while too.
Actually, I could probably show that, but the rubber actual like gasket, I don't know what they call it, seal, does come off the plastic piece. That you'll probably want to soak every once and again, because stuff will get like under the lip.
Look at that though. And I know this scares a lot of people. They'll see it and they'll go like, oh my gosh, that is so much coffee. But I'm telling you, if you use too little coffee, it's not going to taste good.
Right, and that goes back to what we were saying earlier, where a lot of times if you get bitter coffee, it's probably because you're not using enough coffee.
And that's hard for people to take in, I think, too. I think they think more bitter.
Rinse. And I'm just gonna let the air dry. All right, let's see, what do we got? Jess stirs for 30 seconds. Amber says cool. Casey Anderson Ross says hello.
Oh, the Denver mug?
And she calls out the Denver mug.
Which also our other Colorado one is up there.
I think Aspen?
Casey, do you have any of these Starbucks mugs? Can you reach that one up there?
Yeah, we do. We have Aspen?
I thought we did.
Oh, anyways, Colorado's up the middle.
Yeah, we have just Colorado, which I probably can't get without knocking everything over.
Yeah.
I swear we had Aspen.
We might.
Oh,
Is that? Okay, so I guess we do have more.
so this is from the old series. It's the You Are Here collection.
I'll get the new one.
And she'll get the new one. The other, what is the new collection called?
Same thing. They're just a
No, it's different.
Been there.
Been there? Is that what it says? So this is the new style. I actually really like the new style. It's kind of like hand drawn, where these are more kind of that like vector art kind of style. Anyway, so this is the You Are Here. This is discontinued, and this is the Been There series, which is the current one. Anyway, like I said earlier, any of our friends abroad or whatnot, if you have a Starbucks nearby,
But these series specifically, because the
The new
size
series.
is perfect.
because they do make these kind of, I mean, this is technically for an espresso shot, but this is also You Are Here. This is discontinued, but they make them in a new one too. I think these are kind of cute for like a Christmas tree ornament.
But also, they need to see these too. These ones are not the You Are Here.
Oh, if we have any international friends, this is just, these aren't even have a series. Poppy one shit. London. This one I got when I went to Sweden.
These ones too.
I was also in Denmark. Poppy wants shoes. Casey says Aspen is her favorite place ever. I've never been. I have to check it out sometime. Also Gothenburg. This is also when I was in Sweden. This is where I actually was. So I stole a bunch of mugs. Bought them. Okay, what do we got left? What do we got left here? I know you guys want to know how to make the whipped coffee. Had a lot of feedback on that. We're going to do that probably last. So, let's see, we did Aero, Chemex, French. Oh, this guy. This one's going to be tricky to show because I have a hot plate, but it's an induction burner. Induction doesn't work with glass. I know there's like little metal discs or whatever you can buy, but I don't have one so that you can use glass on an induction surface. So what we're going to do is we're going to use it on the gas. So we'll switch over to the phone and go over there in a second. This is called a siphon pot or a vacuum press. Denmark is where her family is from. That's cool. All right, anyway. So this is a vacuum pot or a siphon pot. Totally honest, I just wanted one of these because it looked cool. Not practical at all to use, in my opinion, but it actually does make a pretty good cup of coffee. Anyway, water goes in this. Coffee is going to go in this. This goes in first. They're going to go together. This creates a seal, and then it's going to go on the stove. Water is going to essentially percolate up through, saturate the coffee, take it off the heat, and then you basically let it drain. So we're going to get this going. It's going to take a minute because the water's going to have to actually heat up. And then maybe I can cheat and actually put some already hot water in it. Full disclosure here. I actually have another one of these downstairs. I got two of them. I've never done this on our gas stove because we don't do this very often. So this is the seal, spring loaded, pulls. It's got one of these little lamp bead things.
So it looks like someone just broke a keychain and stuck it on there.
So we're gonna fill this. Hold that, please. Other reason why it's not practical, you need like chemistry set to hold anything. So this makes up to 8 cups. Fun fact: cups are not cups. If I recall, coffee tends to be measured in teacups, which are actually 6 ounces. This is exciting! Oh my gosh. Perfect.
Just a
Right under the line. Alright. Oh, yeah. Feels like a ritual.
Anyways, there's a seal right there.
Yep. So it actually, I just felt it like pop in. Alright.
And this one, is this always regular coffee or can you use...
So you're going to use either a fine drip. Nice. You're going to use a fine drip or you're going to use a coarse espresso grind. How many scoops? Like I said earlier, I do 4 for everything. I lost count. Was that 3?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Moment of truth. Switch back over to this guy if you want to hold that. Probably won't hear me very well because the mic is right there. We're going to go over to the stove. We're going to put this on. We're going to turn on the heat and let this start boiling. Actually, it'll never hit a boil. It'll simmer the entire time.
That would be too much.
I don't know. I've never done it.
I think because you don't want the plants going up and around it.
Maybe we should use the back.
I think you just need to adjust it on there. You don't want this handle to get hot because feel that? See how close that is to the heat? I don't know, maybe you do want to use the back part.
Yeah. Okay.
The handle won't get too hot. Just be careful.
I have an idea.
You want to keep that prop someplace?
Yeah. Right back.
Tequila.
All right. So we're gonna keep an eye on that. So while that's going, if you want to start the whipped coffee.
Did we decide that works okay in this?
Yeah.
All right, the whipped coffee. So I had to try it like everybody else. Found the cheapest instant coffee I could find. And it's just gross. Instant coffee is just gross. But anyways, I got this pack for like $1 that gave you 6 of them, 5 of them, I don't know. So anyways, a 1-to-1 on everything. So each one of these is about a tablespoon, I think. Is that what we did the other day? 2 of them?
Yes.
Okay, so I got those 2. How are we on the water? We're gonna need hot water. Uh-oh, baby's gonna get something.
What do you want?
And then we,
One more.
So we're doing 2 tablespoons of coffee, 2 tablespoons of water, and then it's supposed to be 2 tablespoons of sugar, but we added a little bit more, right?
A little bit.
Okay, so I'm gonna do 2 tablespoons, and then I'll do like maybe a little bit more of the sugar.
Hey, if you can see in the lower left corner, right, lower left, the water has sucked up into the siphon pot. So I turn the heat off, and now we just essentially let that wait. The top of it is fully saturated, and it's just going to drain out, and we'll have coffee. So we'll keep that. You can see it emptying right now. So we're going to keep that going while she's continuing this. We'll try that when she's done.
All right, so I know there's lots of different ways people are saying doing like hand mixing, which takes forever, and what was it, like a stand mixer, but even that was hard.
You see our butts. Butt dance, butt dance.
Anyways,
Alright, sorry. Anyway, what?
So I didn't want to use a big stand mixer for this little bit because that was, you'd have to really like, probably like triple, if not more, the amount.
So
I had
a
something to
stand
use.
mixer is not a great way to go because, yes, you need a lot of volume in there for the mixer to actually work appropriately. You can do this by hand. So our friend Anna was doing this a couple days ago as well. She did it by hand. That's a lot of work. We thought about using the Aero Latte, but honestly, it's not a lot of force. But this guy, now it's probably bad. So this is an immersion blender. Came with a whisk attachment, which, by the way, Breville, that's how you say Breville. This is a really good stick blender. So if you're looking for one, I'll have this actually, we'll link to this on my site eventually.
All right, so
But
hot water. From everything I looked up, said make sure your water is really, really hot. So we got 2 tablespoons of that. Okay. I'm gonna pour it in.
Penguin.
And then it's just this sludge here. Oh, and I think it smells gross because it's instant coffee and it just, And I read that if you make sure it's blended really good before you start frothing it, that makes a big difference. So making sure all the instant coffee is dissolved in there.
Give on a second, I'll get the other.
So just like this.
Because the siphon's done.
Alright. Now it's going to probably fling up at me here. I'm afraid. Do I have it on right? Do I have to do this first?
Turn it way down.
It's on 1 right now. Does that help to go faster?
So you're going to want to start a little slower at first. And once you see it start to combine, then you can speed up. So you can slowly bring it up.
I can't imagine people doing this by hand because look how long it's taken just to get this.
Now you can pick it up. So, whoa. Yeah, okay. So you can see the color change. We're getting air in the mixture. Yeah, make sure you move around and kind of scrape the bottom and things like that.
Starting to get more of a caramel color.
So now you can speed it up a little bit. So as it continues to combine, it's going to get thicker and you can increase the speed. Local too, if you want. If you're having a hard time with it getting thicker, angling it like this adds more air in the mixture.
Probably getting close to done here.
Let's we're just gonna check the consistency.
It's very marshmallowy, and they say it should peak, and I don't know if those are quite peaks. It doesn't really matter. It's whipped enough. But if you did that by hand, it'd probably take you like 20 minutes. So obviously, this way is the texture is going to be better anyways. So
All right, serve it.
there's that.
So I would rather have it this consistency than any thicker, because we'll show you how to serve it in a second. I'm gonna switch back to the wide shot. The issue with it being really thick is that you're gonna pour like a glass of milk or cream or something like that over like some ice.
People get fancy with their types of milk.
And you're gonna put that on top. Well, the issue is that if it's super, super thick, it's gonna be really hard to combine as you drink it. Because I would recommend actually drinking it, like not with a straw. Because otherwise, when you're just drinking milk, you want it to combine, so as it passes through.
So yeah, if you're like gonna taste this by itself, it's not gonna really taste very good. It's very, I think we compared it to like a roasted kind of burnt marshmallow is what it tasted like. It's very
which some of that probably
rustic tasting.
depends on like the type of instant coffee you get. Like what
Yeah.
is that? What
This
did you
was
show
like
what-
Taster's Choice or something. It was like $1 for this box of a couple. So anyways, I just have regular milk here. And do this.
Jen says beautiful soft pink.
Yeah.
We'll take that.
And then I'm just gonna blob it on here. So the milk tames it down a whole lot because this is, like I said, really strong to taste by itself. You get excited, you're like, ooh, this is gonna taste good. It's strong. So yeah, there's that. Looks pretty. Then you do want to kind of mix it in a little bit. Then it doesn't look as pretty, but
See, I was drinking it with it just on top and just letting it
yeah, you can. It's just a little messier that way.
combine as it flows through.
So
And then you get a nice like coffee mustache.
my overall thoughts on this is people rave about it because they like sweet coffee. I don't love it because it reminds me of someone who likes drinking a little bit of coffee with their cream. That's what this tastes like. That's why you have a whole glass of milk and this little bit of coffee. So of course it's very sweet and easy to drink, but like, I don't know. I want to taste my coffee more than this, but this is definitely a desserty thing.
Did you try it?
Nope.
Now you're gonna try it. Try it.
I did have some leftover from the other day, so I put it on my hot coffee the next day, and that was okay too. I mean, it's good, but it's
So I
not
think
good for you.
here's what I would think, because that's not bad. There are other ways I would probably prefer coffee. I see potential in this in like desserts,
Yeah.
like using it as like a topper for a dessert to add kind of that coffee flavor. Honestly, you know what I would really love to have this on? Cheesecake. Just a plain, basic, cold set cheesecake with like a big old dollop of that on top. That would actually probably be really good.
Well, with how much sugar there is in it too, you expect it to taste a little sweeter than it is. But because there's so much instant coffee in there, that just really like takes that away. So it's okay. It's not my favorite thing. I'd still rather have a hot cup of coffee with a little bit of cream in it. But if you think about that, if you were to take this whole thing of coffee whip and drink it over your milk or whatever you put it on, that's 2 whole cups of coffee in
Yeah.
one easy drink. So
That's
if you're
true.
sucking one of those down, you take a lot of caffeine in.
All right, let's talk about this guy. So this finished. You guys could see it in the lower left corner earlier. So if you recall, back a few minutes ago, water was in here. It started to simmer and really reach a true full boil. That brought it up into the top, which filled this chamber. And then you take it off the heat as soon as this is gone. You don't want to bust the glass. And then you let it sit, and then it'll slowly draw out. So the plug that we put in there has really like fine lines in it, so that like stuff can get through water. And then coffee, because it comes coffee. So just gonna show you what this looks like in here. So you can see just pretty much all the leftover coffee. You know, it's drained mostly. You can see the bubbles, which are from the oil in the coffee. Again, this is a full extraction method, so there's no like paper filtering or anything like that. Some siphon pots do come with a paper filter. That bottom
I've never
piece
seen
will have
that.
it. It's not common. Normally, you're just gonna have like plastic or metal. So let's go ahead and pop that bad boy off. And this is the part where I just don't find it to be practical because, all right, so I pop this off and I have coffee. What do I do with this? So I am going to go like this.
Yeah, you probably almost need like a base or something.
Yeah, that's it. Just like I said, you need like a chemistry kit to use it. It's a cool, like, fun talking piece, but
I don't know who's got time for that.
it's just
every
not.
morning.
It's not practical. So
Be interesting to know the taste difference though between all of these.
well,
I don't remember what this one tastes like. Is it strong?
it's supposed to be just kind of a super basic, full-bodied kind of coffee. So there's that guy. So let's see. We have Chemex. I didn't even try our AeroPress. Is that AeroPress? We have French.
Oh,
have
did we not
Siphon.
finish the AeroPress for you guys all the way? Because if this is
No, we didn't.
okay, so this isn't done.
So the AeroPress, right? So rewind about 20 minutes. So we had just pressed it. We showed you that we were so excited by the coffee bug, but
It's not ready.
there's not a lot of coffee in here. Well, it's kind of like because it's like espresso, right? Espresso, there's not a lot of coffee.
So
when
you
you're
could drink
done.
it that way if you want.
You can.
It's
You can.
really strong.
This is a great way if you don't want to buy like $1,000 espresso machine to have at home. It's a good way to get close, and then you can make your lattes and all that stuff with the AeroPress.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, to make an Americano, which is espresso plus
So
water.
kind of like our Chemex, you know, you still add a little extra water to it afterwards. There, now it's done.
Now it's a cup of coffee. All right. So we have Chemex. We have French press, which is a different roast. That's the Ludington espresso roast. The rest are what? Miranda?
Yep.
AeroPress, and then we have the siphon. Would you like to sample them?
I'm happy with my Chemex. I mean, my second choice would be the AeroPress because for a long time we used to make our coffee like that every day. So you would make the AeroPress, and I think you would make it in like, didn't you like put it in a measuring cup, and then you were able to split it between both of us instead of doing each individual cup?
Yeah, so if you're making it for two with the AeroPress, do 4 scoops for sure, and then press that into. You can press it still into a coffee cup, and then pour it into like a measuring cup or something. But anyway, for like a standard cup of coffee, not super strong, not super light, 4 scoops is perfect, and then just split that over 2 8-ounce cups or so.
And I always would water mine down a little bit more just because it's so strong. Which one's that?
AeroPress is still my favorite way. I think it.
I think we would do it more, but it takes just a little bit.
It's a little more,
a
but
little
the
messier.
flavor. So this compared to the Chemex, the AeroPress just has so much more flavor in it. Honestly, you kind of taste some of what normally I guess you would describe as like some of the nutty flavors of the coffee. You really taste like the coffee bean and the roast. I feel like because with the Chemex, it doesn't have the time to like develop the flavor because this gets to speed up with the pressure. It's not sitting in the coffee enough to really pull those flavors out. So here's siphon.
You have to see what does that compare closest to.
This is super close to the Chemex. I would say this is probably a little more acidic, and I bet you it's because that the siphon doesn't have a filter.
I mean, you can't really compare the French.
The French you can't because it's a different roast.
Yeah, which I don't think.
But the rest are all the same coffee. It's more acidic, and I think it is because there's no filter. Man, that AeroPress. Man, if you don't have an AeroPress, that one's AeroPress. If you don't have an AeroPress, order one right now.
They're not expensive.
Go to Amazon. Yeah, I know Prime and stuff. There's a delay right now. Go to Amazon. Type in AeroPress, AeroPress, and get the one with the bag. It's just nice to have the bag. It's like $27. It's super cheap.
The bag isn't necessary.
The bag, it's nice to keep it if you ever travel with it.
Which you're not gonna. You're gonna go find a Starbucks close by and did that. You just are.
I traveled with it. Anyway, highly recommend an AeroPress. If you're gonna just have a drip coffee maker or, God forbid, a Keurig, no offense, I know it's cheap, easy, convenient, whatever. Well, it's not cheap. It's easy and convenient. But if you're gonna have just a basic method like a drip maker or a Keurig or something like that, at least get an AeroPress so you have like some fancier
backup too.
Better
if something goes wrong.
Way. Yeah, and
I would say
as long as you can heat water.
I'd say probably 10 years ago, maybe we were using a coffee pot, and we go through them pretty quickly. And I think it was you realized the coils burned out, or they burn the coffee. So we're like, this is gross. Like coffee shouldn't taste this way. And that's when we started. What did we start with? We
switched to percolator.
Yeah, we did the percolator, and then that was a little bit too much work for us. But once you try these and you find one you like, and you really start drinking it more often, and you get the taste for it, it'll be really hard to go back to like drinking like coffee maker coffee. At least it was for us. A lot of people don't know what good coffee is until you had it and then try your old stuff again.
Right.
We're kind of snobby about that, but
to go back to a point, so there's nothing technically wrong with a drip coffee maker, but if you have a cheap one especially, the issue is kind of what Joy already said, which is that so all a drip coffee maker is it's a Chemex, really. It's a pour over method, right? You have your water, you put it in top, it's the water, or it goes over the coffee in your coffee filter, and then it goes into the basin, which is basically like the Chemex, right? Mm-hmm. All a drip coffee maker is that it heats the water inside of the unit itself. The issue with especially the cheaper models is that heating element, the coil, is one, generally close to the coffee, so where it heats the coffee and the water, which isn't good. Or it just becomes unregulated, so it doesn't stay at perfect consistent temperature. So you actually end up burning your coffee. So if your coffee ever tastes like it was actually burnt, it probably is because those coils are just not reliable. Now, so my Aunt Lisa, who she owned a restaurant and all that stuff and knows where to get all this because she's an amazing thrifter and all that. But she has a bun coffee maker. And that thing
those are good.
Makes some good coffee. And that's a drip coffee.
They make good coffee if you know how to make coffee in them. And you put the right amount of coffee, and the water makes a difference too. Because like those machines, like if you don't ever clean them out.
Yeah, you gotta clean those.
They get disgusting.
All right.
But you could tell when one's been cleaned or not. And a lot of times if you're serious about it, you'll get, special water for it, what distilled water to use so it doesn't build up your
Yeah,
stuff.
so I guess we could save this for another time, but real quick, if you want to clean any of this, like do a full cleaning on it, basically I would recommend one of two chemicals to do it. Obviously water, because you need a liquid, but vinegar, just white vinegar is great. The acid breaks down a lot of the buildup on these things, because you normally get like, generally most of the junk is actually from the water you're using because you're heating it, so you get like calcium buildup and stuff. So the vinegar will help break that down. You can also use citric acid, which you can get as just a white powder, and that you can just again mix with water.
We cleaned our teapots and stuff with it.
So you can just put like a tablespoon of that in this, and then let it boil, rinse off, boil, rinse off, and then you're good there. That's a great way to clean all of this stuff. You can do a vinegar bath. Joy said that earlier. For any of the little pieces and stuff that you can't like heat up. It's a great way to clean all of your coffee gear and keep it good. Cool. So Melinda made a comment earlier, and I'm just going to do a real quick flyby. Just a little fun behind the scenes action. So we're trying a lot of new stuff today, right? This is a little fancier than just us sitting at the corner over there. So I have my MacBook Pro, and I'm running some Ecamm Live software. So this, I can see all your comments. I can see a preview of the video, which, anyway, some camera controls and stuff like that. It's also what lets me switch between scenes. So like I can switch over to wide shot. I can switch over to the phone shot. This I'm just using, there's a webcam software to turn your phone into a webcam. Anyway, and then over here, this is the webcam I use for work. This is just a Brio, Logitech Brio. And that's just on a tripod, and that's watching over here. What you guys have been seeing. And then I have everything gaff taped, because gaff tape is amazing. If you don't own gaff tape, get some. To keep everything in place so the kids didn't trip over it. Go back to the white shot. Cool.
Do you want to watch Poppy taste the coffee?
And I'll tell a real quick story and then we'll end this thing.
Ready?
You don't like it? Oh, she's offended. She's offended.
You should have got a video of her up close. She didn't spit it out though.
She didn't.
No good. Yucky. Yuck. Say yuck. Yuck.
Oh, Ecamm Live is also how I have our little logo on the bottom. I made that last night for you guys.
Yum, yum, yum.
So quick story. So I've loved coffee for like ever. When we were sweet little whippersnappers, my grandma Martinez, when we would go to her house, we as kids, like I don't even remember the youngest I was when I drank coffee, but as kids, we would have coffee. It was mostly milk, but it was like coffee flavored milk. She would put, I want to say, like if it was a glass this size, I don't know, it'd still be only like half milk, and then coffee topped off, and then like basically like a tablespoon of sugar. But I mean,
you started on the right foot for
I know, right? Like, well, I drink it anyway now, but so I've been having coffee since I was, at least 4 or 5. Like that's Perry's age, sitting there drinking
they said
our bubbas.
Coffee bubbas. So you must. I'm pretty sure I remember them saying that it was in a bottle for you.
I think that's an exaggeration. If there's proof of that, so my dad, Lisa, they would know. If there's proof that we actually had coffee in our bottles,
a real
bottle, I would love to see that proof. Until then, I personally remember drinking small coffee cups, so not even this big, where it's mostly milk, but coffee and sugar. So, anyway, so with that, how long have we been live?
A long time.
Almost an hour and a half. Has anyone been with us this entire time? Out of curiosity.
Has anyone learned anything today?
So we have 8 people with us right now. So those of you that are with us, hi, thank you. We're wrapping this up.
Loyal fans.
If you guys want to see more videos like this, let us know.
We got lots of time now.
We got a lot of time. We might create a page just to dump all this on, but I will save this and throw it on YouTube as well. Of course, it's going to be posted in my profile, but If you guys have any ideas for stuff you want us to talk about or do crazy things like this, I know some of you asked for some cooking stuff, things like that. Let us know. Don't forget to like and subscribe, although you can't because it's just a profile. My dad, oh gosh. Okay, so my dad, I think, has been on the whole time. Your mom's been on the whole time. My dad says that we did have coffee in our bubbas. That's what we called our bottles, bubbas. I would love to see a picture if there is one. I doubt there is because obviously film cameras and all that. But
Picture, it didn't happen.
yeah, but it explains a lot on my caffeine addiction. But anyway.
Also, so we have lots of coffee left, and even though now it's illegal, we will still package it up because I have cups and a lot of coffee to give you guys if you want some.
Obviously not these.
But I'm
my
not
mouth.
gonna go put it all out. No one's gonna come get it. So
we have enough probably to put 4 cups out.
And that
5 cups.
possibly. I mean, you could even water some of them down a little bit, and it still would be fine.
Yeah. So anyway, send us a private message if you actually want it.
Cream or no cream.
You could do that themselves too. But,
Well,
okay.
we could, but we already have this made, so.
That's true. That's true. Okay, cool. Well, I'm gonna end the live stream here. Thank you for joining us with, or rather, for Coffee with Brandon and Joy, as the logo shows. It's been a lot of fun hanging out with you guys. Like I said, throw us some suggestions if there's anything you want to see us do, because pretty much every Saturday is empty at the moment.
Yep.
And with that, everybody have a great Easter weekend. I know probably can't do a lot with family, but we hope you guys have a blessed weekend and enjoy your time. So thanks for hanging out with us. Bye.
Bye.